Hello, hi, and welcome to TNIE. Today we are here in conversation with Shantanu Singh. So today we are here with our esteemed reporters who will be asking about the analysis that you made for TDP party. Can I understand like what kind of analysis were made while the campaign was being done in Andhra Pradesh?
So before we get into that, first thing I wanted to say was that uh, my contribution or the how much people like me, any strategist contributes anywhere. I just wanted to clarify that it's generally reported a bit out of proportion. It's never like no strategist can do anything on their own. Okay, and very honestly, a big part of the strategy also comes from the party, not just the main leader, the other leaders who are there in the party, people who represent any particular demography in the party cadre. In fact, one of our major strengths, and this is like at Showtime, we do believe in this, is that if you listen to the cadre regularly, then they are the best people to tell you what steps to take. I mean, if you take a village president, generally such people, if they have actually been on the ground, they know how to win their villages, how to secure margin in their villages. They might not be able to give you that information in like a very refined form that can be put on paper and presented to someone, but more or less they know. So a big part of our work is basically gathering all those inputs, trying to find any common themes or trends, discussing with the second level leaders. Uh, when I say second level, I mean the leaders apart from the main party president and all, refining it and then making a strategy out of it. So it's not that any strategy that's there, uh, I STC or for any like within in any election, any strategist or any consulting firm for that matter can claim that it's purely their brainchild. It's always a sort of like a group effort, team effort. Second, specifically in this case, I can tell you that CBN sir, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, has been very hands-on since beginning. Like right from the idea stage, how to take things forward, what to do. In fact, not even idea, like generally, so the way it used to function was that, okay, we gather a lot of data about the problem at hand. So he's one of those who love to get involved in that process itself, like, okay, how you're gathering data, how you're going to interpret it. Okay, so he'll get broad idea that okay, how you're approaching the problem. So first step of defining a problem, there also he'll be involved. Because I feel because one major reason was that since he also worked as a strategist for late Mr. NTR Garu, so he also understands, and plus obviously he's Chandrababu Naidu, he knows the state and the politics way better than any of us. So he actually guided quite a lot. So based on that, when problem was defined, a major arc of solution was formed. In that also, setting parameters for success or failure and setting out guidelines on which one has to take a call whether any improvement is needed or not. All those things he was really involved. Not just him, he, Ellen sir, other senior leaders. It was a very hands-on thing. So I can't say that any strategy that we have made has contributed. It has all been made under CBN sir's guidance with the help of the party leadership, and TDP itself has a good cadre system. And I mean, it might feel that I'm saying just to say it, but if I give you an example of the overall proceedings, like every morning without fail, we used to have a check-in call headed by CBN sir, attended by all the senior leaders, all the stakeholders, people who were in charge of communication, everything, political side, STC side, if there's any other stakeholder involved, those, all of them were presented, discussed, actionable steps were decided, feedback was taken, and progress was sort of like discussed, and then for follow-up actions were decided. So that way, I mean, the overall strategy was that only. Like that's how the overall strategy was made and executed.
So, what are the main influential things you worked out in last recent assembly elections in TDP? And the thing is, you worked very close with Prashant Kishore in the 2019 election to Jagan. So, how the thing is changed on part from that you work with YSRCP, the quiet opponent is TDP. Now you work with TDP, the quiet opponent was Jagan. So, what was the comparison between Chandrababu Naidu and Jagan?
Okay. So, if I have to talk about CBN sir versus JMR sir, I think comparing to such like big political figures is not right. But what I can say is that both of them have a different set of sort of like working style. In terms of just what CBN sir is like, yeah, working with CBN sir was a dream, if I tell you very honestly, because his understanding of the overall thing, his overall political equations, his understanding of the psyche of people of Andhra Pradesh and also the nation in general. Second, his understanding of technology and how technology can be used in improving efficiency and the overall drive that he had. That was a major thing which was there with CBN sir. And I haven't seen anyone who's so hands-on things. Like he'll sit through a long presentation, even if the topic is slightly alien to him, still he will try to figure out how it fits in the overall picture and sort of always push towards an actionable plan, because he doesn't like things to be a bit theoretical. He was very focused that things have to be action driven. So that was there. In terms of working style, if I can say, with JMR sir, also he's also a very hard working guy. There's no doubt about it. And also he also has a very good understanding of people of Andhra Pradesh. His working style was more like the deadlines were set. You had to deliver on those deadlines. In case you don't meet the expectations, so what was expected that you give him a proper heads up that okay, I'll not be able to meet the deadline. I want more time, or maybe I can do only so much till that deadline, and then new deadline was decided. So that sort of thing. But with CBN sir, it was more like okay, at every step he wanted to be looped in that what is happening, how is it happening, whether it's being achieved or not achieved, whether it's at that level or not, or something better can be done over there.
So, which are the most influential campaign themes or like slogans or right? Jagan given that why not 175? When Babu was given a call to why not 2 like this. So, is there any you given that your showtime was people given like this campaign themes?
So why not 175, but so around November 2022, actually the time that I personally became involved in the campaign, one major focus that CBN sir had was that whatever despair that's there in masses, that has to be brought to the forefront. Like people should start discussing about it. So that's where that Ideen Karma Mana Rashtraanki thing came out. And in that process, like it was CBN sir's outreach program was there, in which we had theme-based visits. In one visit, he used to only focus on irrigation system failures, agricultural system failures, infrastructure, that sort of thing was happening. And in parallel, party cadre was doing extensive door-to-door. So we started focusing on this mainly around November, December, and we could see that thing was adding up. And in one of those things, this whole slogan "Psycho Pawali, Cycle Rawali" was going around. So Sankranti 23, the thought came that okay, this is getting some traction, and this is also something that was discussed in one of our early morning check-in meetings. That it came it came from one source, and then everyone pitched in that okay, yeah, they have also seen it, and people are actually, the term has a lot of buzzworthiness. So then it was decided that let's make a mass song. So like last time when I was working, I noticed that around Sankranti, and please, I might, if I'm getting it wrong, those who are Telugu, please forgive me. But what I sensed was this: there's always used to be one, either a Chiranjeevi Garu movie or Ravi Teja movie, or which had one song which I don't understand Telugu, but what I could get was the lyrics was not that uh, deep or anything, but the beats and hook was very catchy. So we thought let's make that sort of song. And Psychopolis Cycle Rally had that beat quality to it. And within 2 days we got the song and it got released, and luckily it got picked up big time. So if you're asking about slogans like that, I can say slogan, although it came from Kadar only. But yeah, song was decided and it was made. And I mean, even we were not expecting the song to catch so much buzz. Like it kind of became sort of like anthem for the overall campaign. I mean, for one whole year, that was the thing. Uh, whenever it used to be played in public meeting, it just, the public meeting turned into a concert. People were dancing and all. In fact, there was a very strong visual that came in. Thank you. When within first 3 days of Yuvagalam Padyatra, the public address vehicle was confiscated by police. And while they were trying to take it away, somebody from on there played Psychopolis Cycle Rally on speaker, and suddenly the whole crowd started dancing, and there was so much energy over there. So then we had an idea. Okay, we are onto something.
It's connecting with the people.
Yeah, I mean, very honestly, I didn't expect it to get so much traction, but I think that's the beauty of working with a cadre-based party, because when you get an input from ground, it's very difficult. Very honestly, nobody sitting in a Delhi or a Hyderabad or let's say a Vijayawada can tell you what will work or what will not work in, let's say somewhere in Anantapur. It's very difficult. One fluke here or there can work, but a person in Anantapur will be the best person. As I said, like sometimes they don't, their inputs are not as refined, but if you look at the core thing, what they want to say, that's always pure gold. And I mean, if you hit that, then like if you take like why not 175? Had you asked any YCP cadre, and luckily because at that point of time itself the whole Padyatra, CBNSS Yatra and all were going on, and I was also traveling across Andhra Pradesh. It was a very forced slogan because a lot of seasoned YCP leaders, they didn't believe. Like, why not 175 is good to say just to energize your cadre in a rally. But if you're actually trying to push, even the seasoned YCP politicians who had seen up and down, they knew that it's not getting traction. So that's what I felt, that if you shove too much top down, it doesn't work. But it's like coming back to the song part. Is it like it's a thing, right? That one song will come for Sankranti. Like this time, I think Guntur Karam, some song for Guntur Karam Singh, the Mahesh Babu song. Yeah, so that also I don't think the lyrics had any. I might be. I think the same one. Mahesh Babu. Yeah, so that also I don't think. Yeah. So that also didn't have, I don't think it has had any deep meaning or anything, right? It was just a.
It's just colloquial way of saying,
I don't know. I'm extremely sorry. I've been told that like I try to avoid interpreting the lyrics because I don't want to interpret it in a wrong way. But at least the hook and all is generally. Chiranjeevi Garu also, I think 1 year back had one song that Chiranjeevi and Ravi Teja Garu. Don't stop dancing something. Don't stop dancing something. So we actually picked up from that only, that okay, there is a culture where you have a massy song which people love to rejoice during Sankranti time. So if you float it, you get traction.
In 2019, Jagan won with brutal majority.
Okay.
Whether did he misuse that power, sir, which given the people to him during 5 years of the rule? Is that the result of the in this election?
I'm not an expert on governance, so I can't say whether he misused or not. But one thing I can definitely say that a lot of people had very high expectations from JMR sir. I call JMR sir, I call Jagannath Reddy Garu. So they had a lot of expectations from JMR sir, and a lot of them kind of felt that they didn't get what was kind of like promised to them or what they were expecting. So yeah, but having said that, few people were obviously happy from whatever they got, but there was a sizable chunk which came into his support, which were not happy with the way things were being carried out. So misuse, but I don't know, like it's a very strong word, and plus I'm not an expert on governance part of it, so I can't comment on that.
So Jagan has implemented so many populist schemes in the state.
Yeah.
In fact, he has deposited so much money in the people's account.
Yeah.
I believe we also implemented so many populist schemes like Amavadi or schemes like that. Why do you think what transpired for Jagan's defeat? Not just
You're talking about in amongst female voters?
in general.
In general, see, there are certain things. I mean, it's very difficult to attribute one factor to certain things. But I'll take example of women voters because you mentioned Ammavadi. Now, okay, Ammavadi was a popular scheme. People were getting benefit, and they were very vocally speaking about it also in front of camera. But if you look around it, there were so many things happening which made the female voters slightly insecure. Few examples, if I can give you. Around first half of 2022, I'm missing the month, probably around May, where when this Amarnath God case happened. You remember in Guntur, one kid who I think he was in 11th grade. He was trying to stop a guy who was like teasing his sister, and the guy was set on fire. And the accused had YCP connections. And as a follow-up to that, police, like allegedly, I'm not under, like I don't know whether I'm using the right terms or not legally, but there was some rumor about a cover-up, which actually riled up the whole district. Whole Guntur district was quite angry, and even Mari Rajshekar Garu faced few go back chants and all. So that happened. Then there was another case where a girl's body was found in a ditch. Then there were certain rumors that a female political leader was I think slapped or something by the party cadre itself. There was a rumor about it. I think few new media articles also came out about it. So on one hand, you are trying to keep your female voters happy by Ammavadi and all, and then there is doubt about women's security. So I mean, it doesn't work that way, no. So I mean, the actual exit poll numbers about female voting, I don't think they are out yet. But when we were tracking, we saw that we had a decent edge. We got a very decent edge amongst female voters also on YCP. So that's why we were quite confident that okay, there are certain women who are maybe very satisfied with the welfare schemes of JMR sir and are very happy to come out in front of camera and speak about it. But there are n number of things which have also gone wrong. And if we highlight that, if we keep highlighting that in a sensitive way, we didn't want to create a media spectacle about it because it doesn't feel right, because somebody has gone through a very deep personal loss and you try to politicize it. It doesn't feel right also. But we did want to highlight it to people so that it registers to people that something of this sort has happened. And few other cases, I've always felt that in Andhra Pradesh, blatant misuse of authority is not appreciated. And like general understanding is that people feel that in Rayalaseema there's sort of borderline a lot of political analysts come and say no, Rayalaseema it will be political feudalism and all those things. They say that people decide these mandals who will sit, who will win and all those things. But I feel that even if you go to very remote areas of Andhra Pradesh, and it's actually an Indian thing also, arrogance is never appreciated in India by Indian voters. So few cases happened here that few people who came to Yuvagalam Padyatra, their shops were destroyed. They didn't do anything, they didn't say anything. It's just that Lokesh Garu was going past their constituency and they felt like some affection towards him. They came and met him, got few pictures clicked and posted it on social media. Next day they faced certain issues. And I don't think it came from central YCP. Might be overexcitement of some local cadre person, but for a general voter, YCP, anything that YCP does, they think that JMR sir had done. So I feel that thing worked very negatively on them.
So how did you use this the crime part? For instance, you mentioned Amarnath's death and some women's body finding in a ditch. So how did you use these things in your campaigns?
So we had a very detailed discussion about it with CBN's senior leaders and all. So one thing that a lot of leaders also recommended, and our understanding, and actually we all of us aligned on that, was that if you overload people with information, no, it will not register. And these crime and all are very apparent sort of thing, but there were certain nuanced things that were going wrong in state. Like due to unseasonal rains, crops got destroyed in August end. Now, how is government responsible for it? People like you and I can understand that, but for a general voter, they might not. So one thing what we decided was we broke down this whole thing into easily understandable chunks. We decided themes. Each theme was then used for communication during CBN sir's whole visit, Ellen sir's Padyatra, and for at least a week. The overall ecosystem, our social media handles, our media press releases, our media events, our on-ground activities, CBN sir's speeches and media interactions, Ellen sir's speeches and media interactions, we're focused on that. You said use these things. So again, I'm saying simply use and all is not the right word. Our focus was that it should register in people. It should not drop out of people's memory that something of this sort happened. From their side, I think CBN sir and Ellen sir were very generous in terms of they came out and supported the victims' families. Even Ellen sir had an interaction with the girl, and it was one of those like we used to organize small interaction sessions of Ellen sir. So in that during the women interaction, that girl and her mother came, and just like while they were just telling about what had happened to their kid, they kind of broke down. They just broke down on the stage, and I have never seen like one whole gathering, just everyone either welled up or crying. So, in terms of retention value, I felt those memories, those instances registered a lot amongst people. But yeah, I mean, at a strategy level, the idea was to break it down into themes, align everything on that part because we had time. We had started doing that in November 2022. We knew that we had good 1.5 years to do it. So rather than वो एक ही information piece में just putting everything though so that people find it difficult to understand, we tried to break it down into themes. And वो एक theme पे ही we kept on doing it. In fact, in August, CBN sir did a 10-day trip on irrigation system failures. Then in September, when CBN sir was actually picked up by authorities, arrested by authorities, during that time he was on the last leg of his visit for the the crop damage due to unseasonal rains. So that way it helped. And plus, I mean, when you have CBN, someone like Chandrababu Naidu with you, I mean, things will get easier, no? Because he also is very well versed in how to actually communicate proper data to people, and that he has been doing for a long time. That way it helped.
How and where ISRCP failed during the electioneering?
Uh, yeah, I don't have the inside knowledge of what all they did, but one thing I can say that they definitely had all the wherewithal to at least not go down to this poor level. Um, I mean, last time when we were, so I was leading the campaign for JMR sir at IPAC. So we were kind of in a build phase for YCP, like a lot of leaders we were getting a lot of leaders into YCP. So during that point of time, a very big data pool was created where we knew village wise classification of, say, just broadly, say, favorable battleground difficult classification, which all leaders at the village level, either TDP or YCP, are actually influential. What are their gaps? Small things that could be done or can be promised. So that all data was there. If I think about it, I mean, if when you are in power and you have that sort of data, that's basically your base value, no? Because we did that data gathering post Nandyal bypoll in 2017 till first phase of 2018 we collected that data. So when I was at IPAC, so IPAC team used to visit each village, spend good like 5-6 hours in the village, conduct FGDs, ideas, collect that data. It was a tiresome, slightly exhaustive procedure, but we felt that since we have time, let's collect that data. And then once we had that data, all the decisions that were taken were kind of like an analysis and interpretation of this data. I I don't know. I don't think they use that data this time because I felt that a lot of decisions were based on hunches rather than properly triangulated data backed information. Um, but again, I have no inside knowledge, like I have no information what was happening in there. But from an outsider perspective, that's what I felt, that they took they took very strong decisions on maybe slightly half baked information or maybe certain biased information. And when that happens, because अगर आप गलत चीज पे पूरी ताकत से लगाते हो तो आपको ही ज्यादा डैमेज करता है. So that's what I felt, that they I'm pretty sure they had all the data, and I've seen YCP working. When they work, there's a lot of energy and motivation with which they worked, at least when I was there in 2017, 2019. So I'm pretty sure they would have gone with same ferocity and same energy this time also. But I felt the base information was wrong.
How did your body factor work in Andhra Pradesh in these elections?
And Modi ji is obviously a big national brand, and there is no doubt about it that people of Andhra Pradesh also are fond of him. It's just that BJP was never an active player over here. Going with Modi ji definitely helped.
He said that Prashant ji also earlier expected that Jagan will going to lose the state. The Prashant ji also visited IAP once a time. Is he given any advices, suggestion to your team and your team?
So I'll break this down into two parts. One is Robbin's, our relationship with Prashant, and then Prashant's involvement with TDP. About the second part, I think best person to talk about it is Prashant. Whatever he's saying, I mean, you guys are already in touch, so you can ask him. There's no problem, no doubt about it. In terms of our personal equation with Prashant, I don't come from a political family, nor do have any formal academic training in politics. I'm an electrical engineer by training here. So, um, whatever I know in politics, a major part of it, like major part of it, has been by Prashant. I've also learnt a lot from people like Chandrababu Naidu garu, Ellen sir, JMR sir, other senior leaders I've interacted with, but it has always been Prashant who had kind of guided me, and I'm pretty sure if you talk to Robbin, he'll also say the same thing. And one very nice and sweet thing about Prashant was that when I was when I was leaving IPAC, and I think when Robin was also when he left IPAC, so both of us he told that we were left at different point of time, but he told the same thing that you guys have worked very closely with me, and he said that since we have worked very closely with him, he sees us like to me. He told that I see you as my younger brother. So whenever if you want any advice or any help, either personal or professional, feel free to drop a message. And to his credit, I have to say that whenever we drop, like I personally drop a message, I know for a fact that even if the reply will come after 2 days, because he's so busy in Bihar and all, but he'll definitely replies. And it's always something very clear, very precise that he'll give advice on. And yeah, so personally, obviously, whenever we get stuck, we need some guidance, we reach out to him. And obviously, we tell our leaders that, okay, we might be consulting Prashant because they should also know. But whenever we reach out to him, he has always been really kind to advise, and really like um, when somebody like him gives you an assurance that you can drop a message and I'll give you, I'll help you out if you are stuck somewhere. It just gives you a lot of strength to do a lot of things also, because it instills some confidence in you yourself also.
So, what about the Nara Lokesh, who ran a Padayatra and who take a lot of pressure while Babu is arrested in a case? So, how is the things will.
With Ellen sir,
Yeah.
Ellen sir ke sath yaar, the thing is actually quite fun, because he's like, although he's like 4 5 years old, like older than me and all, but he has always kept a very friendly equation. And this is one thing which I actually noted, and we all observed that while there are other things that a politician has to do, I always felt that Ellen sir's biggest strength is his person to person communication ability. Like, if you put him in a small group, like let's say 200, 300, 500 people, even if it's like a group of very staunch YCP supporters, you give him 1 hour, he'll come when after the conversation is done, people will have a soft sort of thing for him for sure. And like I actually asked somebody about it. So somebody told me that, see, when you meet somebody like Nara Lokesh, you expect the guy to be a bit arrogant. I mean, you are son of Chandrababu Naidu, you are grandson of late Mr. NTR, like Balaya Garu and all. So many stars are there in your family. So you expect the person to be arrogant. But on the contrary, when you meet him, he's such a nice, good guy, like very humble, like, and very big thing. If he makes any mistakes, he will be the first one to point it out and kind of like say that, okay, I made a mistake, let's correct it. So, and even if your problem is big or small, he will listen to it with the same amount of attention, which I felt no, like people appreciate that a lot. And it's very contrary to the image that a lot of like that was there out there. And obviously he's a very smart person, there is no doubt about it. Very smart person, knows operations quite in and out. So he's also one of those that who will not commit anything at random. Like, if let's say you ask for certain help, he'll first take all the inputs, he'll see, okay, what can be done, what not can be done. He's very particular about making sure that he honors all his commitments. So these 3 4 things, I mean, helps a lot. And I personally had a very good time working with Ellen sir. And I mean, yeah, it's actually quite a very good working equation, but very good working equation with him. And he has always been very supportive. I mean, you can ask anyone who has worked with him. There are people who have been working with him since he became minister in last TDP government. And though they faced a lot of difficulties after 2019, they stuck with him and stuck with him with the same energy, same passion. And that only comes when the team actually respects and values you and trusts you. So since that was there, they have stuck around, and that's why I think generally people have had a very good time working with them.
I was checking the majorities in the of the winners. So one thing I found out that the huge majorities are Janasena party. Why do you think so? Like why did they win with huge majorities? I saw someone with 70,000, someone with 80,000, someone with 90,000. What exactly happened?
I think it's a wave election.
No,
So
like it is not the case with TDP. But
okay.
Janasena.
No, if you look at the areas where, like in those areas where Jansena has received huge majorities, same is the case with TDP also.
So that successfully vote transfer will be done.
Yeah, 100. Because that one thing was very clear, that we will ensure that there is no infighting that happens between the alliance at the cadre level. So in fact, one whole idea came about of setting up a proper war room in Hyderabad to monitor activities till village level. Now, generally, these things are established closer to election, like maybe 1 week or 3-4 days ahead of polling day, and then on the polling day, it monitors what's happening in each booth and all. But here it was set up around Feb, and since then everything was monitored. Before that also, small team was keeping track of issues at village level, not just us. There were certain teams that were put by party also, from which information used to come, and like Ellen sir himself was also quite involved in this. So any small issue or any infighting that was happening, there was very swiftly some senior person would be told to talk to both the leaders or both cadre workers. The mandal presidents were given specific tasks to set things out. So there was a very close track of how the cadre is feeling and behaving. And one thing CBN sir, this I have to give credit to CBN sir for this. One thing he was very clear. He said that, okay, I have a cadre-based party, so we'll run things via hierarchy, but communication should be direct. Which basically, do you know about this thing, Chinese whisper game? Yeah. So you say something, and when it passed down the information chain, it becomes totally different when it reaches to the last person. So he said that I don't want that to happen. So whatever thing we decide, you chalk down the work clearly for each and every stakeholder, and that stakeholder will be directly communicated there. There was a system in which calls were scheduled with booth cadre, and I kid you not, directly with CBN sir. So on one call, your 46,000 booth presidents will join, and CBN sir will repeat the same information, even though they might not retain it 100%. So we'll send them a written document also. Okay, boss, this is what you have to do. But जो उसका कम्युनिकेशन पार्ट था, उसमें एक राउंड तो सीबीएन सर डायरेक्टली भी बताते थे. Then to enforce that, an 11-member war room was set in all assembly constituencies, which had observer, your candidates, political manager, candidates, media manager, social media manager, their legal POC. Generally, candidates have a lawyer, to manage things. So 11-member team was there, जिसका डे इन डे आउट का काम ही ये था कि जो सेंट्रल डायरेक्टिव आ रहा है वो प्रॉपरली एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है कि नहीं. एंड दे वर ऑल कंडीशन, लाइक सीबीएन सर कॉल्ड अ फुल टीम मीटिंग इन मंगलगिरी, एंड ही कंडीशन देम दैट बॉस, ये अलायंस है, हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं, हम जीतेंगे भी इनके साथ, हम लड़ेंगे भी, मतलब we'll contest the election as a team and we'll win this election as a team. if you have any gaps, if you have any gaps, do let us know. We'll clear it out. If you sense any gap in cadre below, like who report to you, you get into the mode of problem solving and like not in the mode of just raising an issue and creating an issue. सो उस वजह से आई फेल्ट कि जो इनिशियल थोड़े प्रॉब्लम्स आए थे, मीडिया में भी रिपोर्ट हुए थे, वो चीज़ें बहुत जल्दी सॉर्ट हो गई और एक बार वो सॉर्ट हो गया प्लस हमारे पास एक सफिशिएंट टाइम था टू एग्जीक्यूट थिंग्स, तो वो ट्रांसफर अच्छा हुआ.
On the day of election results, there were speculations on the national media and the local media that Chandrababu might support India alliance.
But CBN sir made it clear, no?
Has he consulted you to what to do next?
CBN sir was very clear from the when alliance with like TDP going to NDA was finalized. He was quite clear that he want to honor his things, and that same thing he stated. So,
do you think he will continue in the NDA alliance for the next 5 years? What are the chances?
If I tell you honestly, I don't think I am experienced enough to comment on such things. Yeah, like these are way big things than I have control on, so I can't comment on that.
You are like very experienced strategist.
No,
you will
no.
be able to, you understand the national politics and you understand.
Yeah.
Very.
I wish. I wish. See, it's नहीं, ये सही नहीं होगा कहना यार. Sorry, but it will be too presumptuous for people like me to say कि नहीं, I can second guess what CBN sir is thinking or what he's thinking. I mean, I think again, best person would be CBN sir to ask that. But he has been quite clear, no? Like, what did he say in his first instruction? He said the same thing, that we contested as a team in NDA with the BJP and JSP, and we honor that. That's what he said.
As a political strategist, how do you analyze the growth of Congress party in the last election, Lok Sabha elections?
At the national level.
What factors have worked for Congress party to legitimate?
I can tell you what went wrong for BJP because I am from Ayodhya. So yeah, we have been getting a lot of big bats and काफी trolling हुआ है. So I felt that BJP did a very bad job in candidate selection. I mean, few candidates were facing a lot of negativity in their vote base. In their constituency, there was a lot of pushback. Infighting भी चल रहा था, and I felt that generally, as a kid also we used to, because I'm from UP, so थोड़ा सा ना थोड़ा political discussion हो ही जाता है, even if you are not from a political family. So we always found that BJP was always very proactive about settling those things. This time I didn't feel that. In fact, like the MP from my neighboring seat. So I'm Ayodhya Faizabad, and then there's another Basti. So there also MP lost, and it was like in very there was a public chatter that the things are not going well, people are not happy, and those sort of things were happening. And I didn't see any major effort on BJP's side to tackle this issue, which I felt hit them hard. Although this is I'm analyzing from a distance, I don't have data and all to do that. This I felt hit them bad. One thing, since which I sensed, I'm a Rajput. There was a statement made by a Gujarat BJP leader about Rajput women, and I'm from Ayodhya, so it's way too far from Gujarat, but still people were talking about how that guy didn't apologize. And this is a thing with martial caste. The right term is martial caste only, no? That वो इज्जत वाली बात बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. And like I was surprised because when I went home, there were certain people who were saying that at least माफी तो मंगवा लेते. So those things hurt BJP way too much, and obviously the whole The India Alliance voter, if you see, they were very aggressive this time in terms of they had hope. They wanted to give it a fight, and वैल्यू ऑफरिंग कुछ समझ नहीं आया था मुझे बीजेपी का. आई फेल्ट मोर देन कांग्रेस's गेन इट वाज बीजेपी's लॉस. आई माइट बी रॉन्ग इन माय एनालिसिस, बट जो मुझे जो डिस्टेंस से लगा, और जो मैं देखता हूँ कि जैसे जब व्हेन यू आस्क प्रशांत आल्सो अबाउट इट और एनी अदर सीनियर पॉलिटिकल brains of the country, they are saying the same thing, that candidate selection was wrong, Rajput community was pissed. Third, which I also saw, felt uh, as an overall narrative which was missing in BJP, and was that इस बार किस बारे में वोट हो रहा है. Like 14 was all about परिवर्तन, अच्छे दिन. 19 was about national security. There are big factors. This time, like if as a BJP voter I have to vote for BJP, but what am I voting for? वो नहीं था. तो I felt that it was more of BJP's loss than Congress's victory. But yeah, one thing very smartly that was done by India Alliance is that whole अब की बार 400 पार पे जो संविधान वाला चीज उठाया था ना, which I felt was really sharp. That was smart, because BJP ने वो open ended छोड़ दिया था. They said अब की बार 400 पार, but for what? ये नहीं बताया. और I think कोई उनके जूनियर लेवल के लीडर ने या किसी लीडर ने जाके बोल दिया था कि संविधान बदलेंगे, एंड उसको तुरंत लेके इंडिया लाइन में. आई वाज लाइक दैट्स क्वाइट स्मार्ट. फिर सेकंड आपका जो एक विगर लेके आए थे ना वो, कि जीत सकते हो, आप अटैक कर सकते हो. थोड़ा रिजेंटमेंट भी था कुछ चीज़ों को लेके, जहाँ पे हाई हैंडेड रहे थे लोग, वो सब भी था. तो वो सारी चीज़ें ऐड होती चली गई वहाँ पे. दैट होल कंफ्यूजन अबाउट योगी जी दैट वाज क्रिएटेड. आई मीन मतलब they were good in terms of identifying gaps and kind of like putting it out there. So like there was some confusion, there was some discussion about something going on, rumor या जो भी चल रहा था, but when Mr. Kejriwal came and said something, and other India Alliance people said something, so वो एक कुछ नहीं तो एक डिस्कशन नीचे यूपी में शुरू हो गया था कि यह सच है कि झूठ है. बस ये जरूर पूछ लेते थे कि सच है कि झूठ है, कि मतलब केजरीवाल बोल रहे हैं तो कुछ तो होगा, कहीं कुछ है तो नहीं. सो दैट्स देयर. एंड मतलब हाँ, सो और योगी जी पॉपुलर तो थे ही, तो हैं ही, सॉरी. सो दैट वे इंडिया अलायंस आई फेल्ट डिड क्वाइट वेल. जहां जहां पे भी उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला, उन्होंने उस पर कैपिटलाइज अच्छा किया था. एंड इस बार आई फेल्ट कि थोड़ा मे बी बिकॉज राहुल गांधी जी फोर फ्रंट पे काफी दिन से थे, तो वो ना उनका जो कैडर उनका एंगेज था टू एन एक्सटेंट. हो सकता है जिस लेवल की एफिशिएंसी वो चाहते हो वो ना हो पाई हो, बट टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट कांग्रेस कैडर और जो बाकी के इंडिया अलायंस के मेंबर्स थे, उनके भी कैडर थोड़े से वार्म्ड अप थे, क्योंकि उन्होंने कुछ कुछ एक्टिविटीज की थी. भारत जोड़ो यात्रा, साउथ टू नॉर्थ देन ईस्ट टू वेस्ट जो चल रहा था. सो विच आई फेल्ट कि थोड़ा सा एनर्जाइज थे, कुछ कुछ एक्टिविटीज चल रही थी. सो ऐसा नहीं था कि उनको एमसीसी लगने के बाद इंजन स्टार्ट करना है. मतलब इंजन वाज वार्म्ड अप, अब गाड़ी चलाना था, विच आई ऑलवेज फेल्ट कि पहले होता था. पहले इफ यू लुक एट कांग्रेस, एमसीसी लगने के बाद कुछ कुछ शुरू होता था, या बहुत अच्छा कोई पीसीसी कर रहा होता था तो प्रोबेबली 1 month ahead of एमसीसी कुछ एक्टिवनेस आती थी. बट इस बार शुरुआत से लोग वार्म्ड अप थे, कुछ कर रहे थे. सो दैट वाज क्वाइट वेल.
So, what role Showtime will be playing, or for that matter, Shantanu will be playing for the next 5 years?
सो कुछ आइडियाज हैं जो एक्चुअली फनीली, सो पोलिंग अब 13th को हुआ था. 14th को सीबीएन सर ने एक राउंड का एनालिसिस कराया, 14th 15th को, एंड 17th को ही कॉल्ड फॉर अ ग्रुप मीटिंग, ग्रुप जूम कॉल. इन दैट ही लेड आउट सर्टेन वर्क्स जिस पे काम करना था. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 17th में. He said, "अच्छा, I know you guys work very hard. You guys are on break. 1-2 घंटा दिन में काम कर लो." And to give him credit, या वो भी काम कर ही रहे थे because every other day he'll hold an hour of review. So कुछ काम था जिस पे काम चल रहा था. So once he's back, we'll probably discuss with him. And if whichever way, if I mean, yeah, if somebody like Chandrababu Naidu tells you to do something, you do it. You know, like, I mean, yeah, as a kid growing up in UP in 90s, we used to hear about that there's this leader from Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, who's revolutionizing the whole IT sector, building pura ek Hyderabad city build kar raha hai. So, um, I mean, there's just a lot of respect. Your rules, that civilians have been decided. How can I decide?
So, like you worked with Jagannath Reddy garu before, and you worked with Robbin. Will you be going back to Jagannath Reddy again? Like,
यार इसका तो मैं क्या ही बोल सकता हूँ.
sir, one last question. How do you see the Telangana politics?
हाँ?
Telangana politics. The BJP has gone.
तेलंगाना पॉलिटिक्स में एक चीज जो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग दिखी मेरे को, वो दिखा बीआरएस का बहुत शार्प डिक्लाइन आया. मैं बहुत ज्यादा generally I don't like to comment on secondary research till I see some primary data. But one thing I'm actually quite intrigued about is the sharp decline of BRS. Very honestly, haven't been able to look deeply into it because यहाँ पे election बहुत closely contested, बहुत tough election था, so उतना time नहीं मिला. But surprising, no, मतलब एक पार्टी जो इतना अच्छे से 10 years plus, I mean, आप अगर आप किसी को 2022 मिड में if you had asked anyone, सब बोलते कि BRS is good, and I mean, जितना मुझे उस समय सुनाई पड़ता सब ये बोलते थे मैं KCR will at least get one more term, ये सब बोलते थे. From that to see the party to go down to that level, and that too a party based out of a movement and agitation and all. So, I would also love to study it in detail. मतलब थोड़ा सा time मिलेगा तो I'll love to study कि क्या हुआ था यहाँ पे. Maybe gather some primary data. But yeah, everyone is saying that BJP has made quite strong progress in all areas of Telangana. It will be exciting to see what's happening over there because there is a party BRS which is associated with the whole Telangana sentiment. Then there's Congress, which was quite strong in this area in United Andhra Pradesh. Then BJP, if they are making inroads, तो फिर इंटरेस्टिंग होगा क्या होता है. बट मैं थोड़ा सा बचना चाहूँगा क्योंकि मेरी थोड़ी सी ओसीडी की थोड़ा ओसीडी, तो मेरे को डेटा एक बार देखना जरूर पड़ता है बिफोर मेकिंग एनी जस्ट सेकेंडरी रिसर्च. आई डोंट वांट टू कमेंट. But yeah, this I can tell you that next elections will be quite exciting for Telangana. Hope in a good way. But don't you think it's good to have a closely contested election between parties? I mean, as a voter, it's always beneficial for you, no? Agar there's let's say there are two players who are fighting it out. So as a voter, you get more value out of it. No? Like just if there are two companies, like Zomato का हर Zomato का एक Swiggy रहे अगर तो as a consumer मुझे थोड़ी अच्छी सर्विस मिल जाती है. जितनी मिलती है उससे तो बेटर ही मिल सकती है. So सही है, मतलब अच्छा होना चाहिए. हर Zomato का एक Swiggy होना चाहिए मार्केट में.
So thank you so much. With this, we'll conclude our discussion. It was lovely speaking with you and knowing the insights about the party which is going to rule in Andhra Pradesh. Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
So it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.